Hi, this is Ted Dunn. This is the Planet Show. Please enjoy the show.
All right, welcome to this week's $1 Million Plan. I'm Pete the Planner. That's my 5-year-old son, Ted Paul Ashley from First Person Advisors, guest co-host this week.
Yeah, and I produced that.
Yeah,
Wait
a second.
Ted, but his appearance on the segment. You're welcome.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Big fourth day of Hanukkah.
Happy Kwanzaa. I believe it. We're in the
fourth.
as we record. This week on the show, I've got some really intense emails recently, and you and I were sort of talking about it this week, and I was like, why don't you come on? They're more of like case studies. So why don't you come on? We'll go Hollywood Squares style. I'll pose the question, and then we'll discuss the answer together.
And I think it's the listeners, viewers need to know I have not been prepped in any way. I'm getting these questions cold.
Sure.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
And I would also like to point out that I have not really read the questions either.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Paul, if people want to find out more about you, I assume they go to Bing.
Yeah, they can Bing me
Yeah.
and type in Paul Ashley and see what happens.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
they could go to firstpersonadvisors.com and learn more, or on the Twitters.
What's your title there? Managing Director?
Managing Director, last I knew.
Yeah. Good
I'm
for
also
you.
available on the Twitters at P.E. Ashley. That's P as in Paul, E as in Edward Ashley. You'll see a lot of pictures of my kids.
All right, so let's get started. Pete and Paul, I have a financial retirement planning question for you, one that I haven't specifically seen addressed anywhere. First,
in your concept.
yeah, I know. Well, first, our relevant information. I think we'll be the judge of that. I will be 62 in January, and my wife is 56. Good for you, sir.
Lady.
We are both employed, and our combined income is $170,000.
Good household income.
I max out and have been maxing out my 401k each year, and my wife saves 15%. So far, what we know is we can assume he is putting in $24,000 a year into his 401k because that is maxing it out. But since we don't know the split of their income, we know she saves 15%, but that means nothing to us.
Yeah, I was going to say 50% of what?
I don't know. We currently have $925,000 in our 401ks and IRAs. Okay. We have $138,000 in cash and CDs. Do you think he means like Lionel Richie and like Motown albums, or do you think he means certificates of deposit?
Yeah, probably certificates of deposits in this case.
Our net worth, not including our home, is therefore about $1,063,000. In a few years, we will inherit about $510,000, which will bring our net worth to about $1,573,000. By then, assuming any reasonable market gain, our gain this year over last was $216,000 from savings and investment gains. I anticipate that we will have $1.7 million. Okay, so far I'm good with this. Yeah. Although, that he knows what his inheritance is going to be and no one's dead.
I question that.
I question the idea that it might not actually be the number he thinks it's going to be.
That's fair.
Arguably, it could be less. If he thinks it's going to be 500, but we'll continue. Our plan is for us to both work until I'm 65, which is, of course, 3 years from now, and we will both retire. So that makes his wife 59 and a half at that point. So that's convenient and good for everybody. Mm-hmm. So far, you good?
So far, I'm good.
If you're just joining us in the $1 Million Plan, Paul Ashley is joining me. We've got a very complex email from a listener. If you want to send us a complex email, you can do. By us, I mean me. AskPete@PeteThePlanner.com. AskPete@PeteThePlanner.com.
Is this the question going towards a reverse mortgage?
I don't know. I don't know. You never know. Okay. At 65, I will receive 2 pensions.
Oh, whoa. Time out. His net worth is way more than
you can't really consider the pension the net worth unless he's taking the lump sum. But this is where it gets interesting, which will total slightly over $14,000 per year. So they're small pensions, like $1,200 a month.
Right, better than a poke in the eye.
Totally. We will use our savings to support ourselves until I reach age 70, at which time we'll both take Social Security. My wife will take early Social Security either at age 62 or 64. Together, we will have $60,000 from Social Security, and with my pension, the total will be $74,000 in non-investment income. So far, so good.
And guaranteed non-investment income, right?
Yeah, guaranteed. We will move to Florida. Upon my retirement, and we'll buy an inexpensive home, $200,000 max. I always like when people say inexpensive. It's pretty subjective, isn't it?
Depends on your
with cash, and I anticipate that our living budget will be about $52,000 per year. So basically, our normal expenses will be covered by our Social Security and pension income after taxes. All right. I will use my RMD, my required minimum distribution, to pay any additional taxes owed, because at 70 and a half, you have to take money out of your qualified vehicles to the tune of about 4% in the first year. There's a funky formula, but it's about 4%. To deal with any medical expenses, travel, things we want to buy, and we'll reinvest the rest. And I'm planning to continue to be fully invested in retirement. Wait, hold on, I skipped a line. No, anyway. I figure that there is a market downturn, then my $648,000 in cash, which will be more by retirement time, should more than cover us, since Social Security and pension after taxes already virtually covers us. I realize that I will have to finance out 5 years from age 65 to 70, which will subtract about $400,000 from our net worth between the house and living expenses, but offset by my pension, leaving us with about $1.3 million to live on. We don't anticipate leaving an inheritance to anyone. That helps. When I pass, I think he assumes dead.
Yeah.
People say weird things about like when I pass.
He's moved on.
Where'd he go?
Well, did he pass gas?
Maybe. My wife will get my Social Security, but not my pension, and will move maybe half of any remaining 401k IRA monies into safe money market 401k IRA accounts. I don't know what that is. Based on my year-by-year, we're almost done. Based on, and then we're going to be out of time. Based on my year-by-year cash flow analysis, assuming that a 1% gain in the market over all of these years, my wife should still have a net worth of about $400,000 when she's 95. My question is, by the way, he at the very beginning he says, I have not seen something that has been specifically addressed anywhere. His question is this a workable strategy? I just want to say that no one has written about his particular financial situation in a major newspaper before, so therefore it is not something that has been specifically addressed before.
It's quite specific with the level of detail. Okay. You know, I do have one concern for my man here.
Yeah, but Nicole, by the way, we're going to have to send this guy the audio here in case he's not a listener of our fine program. Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So he's going to work until he's 65, correct?
Okay, yes. 3 more years. That's $75,000 more he'll set away.
Okay, so at age 65, his health care is good to go because he's going to go on Medicare.
Yes.
His wife is 4 years younger? 5 years younger?
She is 6 years younger.
6 years younger, so she'll be 59 and a half, to
Yeah.
the point earlier. What is the plan for her in terms of health care? Because I haven't heard him
bring up healthcare once.
Well,
he said
he
medical
brought up
bills.
healthcare once for medical bills as they retire. But what is she going to do from age 59 and a half to age 60? That's 5.5 years.
That could arguably, even this year, be 20 grand.
I mean, that could, if he hasn't accounted for that, or there is no plan for that, that could, I think he's still probably okay.
Yeah.
But his margin there could be completely eaten up. The safety net could be completely eaten up, and he's just barely going to eke it out.
I think in terms of stability, I would give this plan a 8.5 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say he clearly did not account for healthcare, but he didn't mention it, and it is one of the biggest factors. Even if it was listed, it would be one of the biggest factors here, but it's not listed.
All right. Now, maybe the assumption is, and he didn't say this yes or no, that his wife will continue to work.
He said, our plan is for us to both work until I'm 65, and then we will both retire. So, I mean, they're talking about 6 years of funding her health care in the midst of not knowing what healthcare looks like at all. Nicole,
very volatile system.
how many minutes are we in this segment? I didn't even keep track.
You are at almost 9 minutes.
Well, half of it was reading the email.
Well, it was a good email.
So, okay, I think this guy's fine. I think he needs to account for healthcare. One thing that she may consider doing is working at least a couple years longer than him, just so she can
shrink the gap.
Yeah, I wonder who. I would assume the coverage is through him.
Probably, but it sounds like she's working full time. I mean, she has to be working full time because she qualifies for her retirement plan.
Yeah.
She puts 15% into it, so if she is benefits eligible.
Yeah.
And if her employer offers healthcare benefits, she could take that at some point if she continues to work.
Do you like the rest of the strategy though, using cash and investments to get to 70 and a half, so they have a strong or a bigger Social Security income?
I think you're splitting hairs there. I haven't run the numbers of taking distributions when you're first eligible at 62 versus 65 versus 67 versus when you're required to. I mean, obviously you make more money.
Yeah, so that's a big financial planning thing, like when to take it. I would say this: if they're very healthy, and I'm going to make a really dumb statement, another one. for a couple where there's a 6-year age gap, oftentimes the older person can be healthier and live a younger lifestyle to the level of the 56-year-old in this case. If they're healthy, that's a great strategy. If their health is in question, or there's a major family history of early passing, then it's not that great of a strategy.
Right, because you want to get your money back from Social Security as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I like this.
That's good works.
He's assuming a 1% growth rate.
Super conservative.
Uber conservative, to the point where we just saw the Fed this week gave inflation projections, which then creeped to about 2% in the next 2 years. So they would be getting outpaced by inflation if you're earning 1%. You always want to outpace inflation, or you are losing buying power, which is an aggressive thing to do. That sounds silly, but it's aggressive to lose buying power.
Well, and the other thing too is I think about the time period he's talking about here. I mean, I follow a macroeconomist, Alan Beaulieu, and he doesn't predict the market.
Are you name dropping Beaulieu?
Beaulieu.
Okay.
And they're predicting a technical recession in 19, and then the Roaring 20s. So for him to only assume he's going to get
When you say, what do you mean by that?
Roaring 20s,
Yeah.
economic expansion in the 20s.
Okay, as in
the
yeah.
Roaring 20s. Now,
Yes.
the other part of the story is what happens after the Roaring 20s.
Great Depression.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but for him to assume a 1% rate of return for the next 12 years, I think, based on what you hear macroeconomists talk about, seems a little low. But if there's a massive downturn, then that's something to think about.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. I'm with Paul Ashley, managing director of First Person Advisors, friend of the show. We should be drinking wine or bourbon or something.
But we're healthy.
I know.
I did my liver detox a couple weeks ago. You're doing this.
I'm very healthy. 38 days in a row of 30 minutes of exercise. Thank you for that. All right, coming up after the break, more of us. Here in the $1 Million Plan, we are Pete and Paul the Planners.
Axe hand on the beat. Yes, sir. Glass House. Yes, sir. Mr. Kinetic, Rusty Redenbacher. ATFU.
Back on $1 Million Plan. I'm Pete the Planner. Paul the, I don't know.
Advisor.
Sure. Paul's
Managing
here.
Director.
Paul Ashley, friend of the show, just co-hosting. We're not talking healthcare necessarily. Although the first thing you brought up on the show was healthcare.
It was the missing link in his plan.
Yeah, you're the missing link.
Well,
You ape.
there's-
I'm sorry, it's too easy. We're just answering really hard emails this week.
Yeah.
Like really long, involved email. This one came in from a USA Today column. Guy's name's Pat.
Pete
Or maybe
Pat.
it's a lady named Pat. No, it's a lady. Who knows? Because it says my husband and I, but you never know these days.
Well, no.
Man, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You made it weird.
I did. I didn't mean to. My husband and I'm playing her now, or him.
They.
My husband and I are in our middle 70s.
Oh, all right.
Probably her, have lived a financially comfortable life, taking a nice family vacation, putting our children through college loan free, and funding weddings. We retired on time from our jobs, knowing that we had saved for a comfortable but not luxurious retirement. I don't like the word luxurious. We even have an excellent long-term care policy should we need it.
Rare.
We know that we will not financially burden our children. We are now 7 years in, and a similarly aged sibling is about to run completely out of money other than a quite modest Social Security payment. So those following along at home, so one of the couples here, they got a sibling, like an elderly sibling who's not doing well. Yeah. This person was never good with money. It's because I wasn't around back then. Oh, sorry. Was bailed out by parents several times. Eventually, the relatives' resources were pooled with a now deceased partner. We were all shocked when the partner died without a will, and our relative got nothing. I'm sorry. That just seemed like I needed to say it that
Dramatic.
way. From the results of their shared finances. Well, the relative is financially stressed and receives modest food stamps. So usually people say food stamps, but I said food stamps.
Had never thought about it, but you're right.
You can say it any way you want.
How about food stamps?
That seems condescending. Health, while not good, does not fit the criteria for eligibility for Medicaid help with living expenses, rent waiver for assisted living, or skilled nursing. We are stuck in an ethical and emotional conundrum. I would agree.
Yeah, it's
We
tough.
know we are not legally obligated, required to subsidize, but one of us feels,
So one of us feels?
yeah, did you catch that?
Yes. Who's the one of us?
But one of us feels,
Yeah, that's the writer of the email is not the one who feels that, by the way.
I don't know, I will see, but one of us feels a moral obligation to do so. We are already and have financial and medical power of attorneys and have been managing bill paying for a few years, forcing the relative to live more modestly than that relative would have done independently. So that money would be long gone by now. So that makes sense. That makes sense
that
so
seems
far.
like a good move.
Supplementing the relative's Social Security now, virtually making this relative our financial dependent, would require one of two things from us. One of us would need to go back to work part-time, or we would need to sell our home, move to a mortgageless place, and begin to spend down its substantial equity. Frankly, we had always seen that equity as something to leave toward our several grandchildren's education funds. We see no other options, do you? Please offer your insight to help us make a good decision, and do not put this on the radio. I'm just kidding. I made the last part. I made the last part.
That got weird.
Okay, so what do you think?
That is a conundrum.
Okay,
right?
so usually what we get on these is an adult child, like
Yeah.
the.
But this is a peer-age sibling
Yeah.
of a retired.
Do you have siblings?
70
Do you have siblings?
I know, only child.
Yeah,
Amy and I are both only child.
that makes
children.
sense now.
Sure. How about two only children get married and then have 5 children? There's something for you. That's a whole other radio show.
I don't think it's that interesting.
Okay.
So what do you think about this?
Well, so it's easy for me to look at this completely unemotional.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Like without any
Yeah.
attachment. If you look at it purely from the math of it, it's a horrible idea for them to completely go against everything they've saved, planned, dreamed, and hoped
An
for.
entire career of
An entire
prudence.
life,
Yeah,
right? And it's not like they don't have a plan for this money.
yeah.
They have a plan to support the next generation or to skip generations in terms of their education. And so I don't know that they truly understand the emotional toil they will create for themselves, the cost of that, the emotional cost of giving up that dream by doing what they feel.
I think they do realize that, but you think
I think
they
they've
can't begin to.
I think they've underestimated the anger and pain and resentment.
What if they're more mature and
Than you and I?
Than you and I.
Well, that's likely true, to
But
be
think
fair.
about. I was talking about this in an interview the other day. Think of yourself 15 years ago and how much you've matured in terms of relationships and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this is a better question for your wife.
Yeah, she certainly has.
Yeah. So imagine when you're this mature,
Right.
You're 70 something. I mean, do you think of it differently?
You might, I guess, and you can't take it with you. But their intent is not to live lavishly and take it with them. I mean, they're talking about selling a house that they don't want to sell.
Let me play devil's advocate. That's Devil with a B. My old
Okay.
friend Rusty Redenbacher likes to say
Devil.
devil. So they're leaving the money to the grandchildren who arguably don't need it.
We don't know that.
But I think
They
if they
obviously
needed
have
it
less
now,
of a
they'd
need.
give it to them. The problem's not about the grandchildren now. The problem's about leaving money to kids who don't necessarily need it. Do they need it for college? Yes. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. Yeah, arguably they need it for college. But what they're saying is, on some level, they are saving the money for someone who doesn't need it instead of giving it to someone who needs it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is a tough one.
I mean, there's another question I have for them, which is sort of what is your faith tradition, right? Because if they're Christians,
Sure.
Don't store up on earth
Are you quoting biblical verses
Yeah,
on my
I mean,
show? What is that?
treasures in heaven versus storing up on earth where
Is that
moth
Paul?
and rust
Like
can destroy.
the book of Paul?
It's the book of Pablo, and I mean, there's certainly things that I don't know, man.
That's tough. Welcome
So
to my world.
Is there a
How
way?
does that feel?
Is there a way that they don't have to make a massive move, like sell the house, where they can do just a little?
it
Because
seems
it's
all or nothing.
right.
there.
It seems at that level of income this person has, even a little more a month could make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Even just $250 more a month, $500 more a month. Does that really require them to sell their house and give up the college savings opportunity for their grandchildren?
Okay.
Is there a compromise?
Is the relative living with them?
No, but it didn't sound like it.
Yeah.
It sounded like the relative is they're in control of their bills and finances.
Couldn't the relative come live with them?
That would be a solution. But
I
is
mean,
that worse?
I
Or
don't
better?
know. I mean, here's the thing. We're not going to give this person a set answer because I don't know. Because there's no set answer.
The only
It's
answer
really
I give
hard.
is don't underestimate the the emotional cost of choosing to do what they believe or one of them believes is a moral obligation.
So, our friend just texted me back that we were texting during the break.
No.
Distracted now.
Yes, fair enough.
I don't know, man. I got to think that's got to be part of the solution. That if they're serious about helping them and it's not just the feeling like they should help them, then cohabitating could make some sense.
The other thing I would say is it sounds like they're not
Maybe.
in agreement, right? One of us feels,
Yeah, that's a
okay?
big thing.
Here's the other thing. If it's not heck yes for both of them,
Yeah.
it needs to be heck no until it is. Because that could literally drive a wedge between their marriage. And that would be terrible.
Especially this late in the game because,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe you don't want to go out and find another spouse. You got to side with your spouse.
have to. Until it's
Who
a
do you
heck
think?
yes.
Do you think the letter writer is the person that wants to help, or the letter writer is the person's like they made their own bed, they got to lie in it?
Hard to tell from the language.
I don't know. I'm going to go back to this line.
One of
We
us.
know we are not legally required to subsidize, but one of us feels a moral obligation to do so. I think the letter writer is the person that wants to help, and I think the other person does not. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whatsoever.
No.
That's hard.
That's a tough spot. That's a real tough
Good
spot. Now, if it
Lord.
was an adult child, I would almost, who has earning potential,
Yeah.
I would just say, no way, this is ridiculous. Quit enabling. your
Okay, let's
kids."
take another approach here. What would happen if they didn't help?
Well, I mean, it sounds like this individual lives very sparsely.
They do, but also for some reason I'm getting, and I don't listen to myself when I read. I feel like they were making suboptimal decisions, though. Too.
Right.
Like continuing to.
Yeah, I mean, they married someone, they failed to have a financial protection of a will. I mean,
That's tough.
you know,
What-
make your bed, you have to lie in it.
All right, what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah, you and I are married.
Oh,
You're Pat,
okay.
and and
Oh.
my sibling because you
Whoa.
don't have any.
Ooh.
What would you do?
I would do nothing until we had absolute agreement. I wouldn't try to convince you of anything if you were the one who wanted to do it and I didn't. I mean, I would say this is a heck no until we're both a heck yes. That's where I'd start.
This is tough. I feel like I'm a tough love person. Like I really am. Like I feel, but it's always like, what lesson can be learned? And at that point, is it just a punitive lesson?
This person's already,
There's nothing this person
Hurting
can learn.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing that this relative can learn. But I also, it's like, are you going to go down with the same? This is like a Sophie's choice, right?
yeah, exactly. What about, the other question I have is, can this person not work?
It doesn't sound like it. No, they've got medical issues.
Oh, okay.
They're of similar age. They're in their 70s. They're not allowed to hire in the 70s.
Yeah.
All right, I have to answer this because I
This
don't
is
like
not my
sitting on the
show, so,
fence.
yeah, it's
So
not my
I'm going to
show.
answer. Oh man. So if you're going to disagree with what I'm about to say, email me, askpete@petetheplanner.com, or if you're on Twitter @PeteThePlanner, tell me that I'm wrong if you think so.
Subject line, Pete's wrong.
Subject line, Pete's wrong on the radio. I don't think they should help.
I'm with you.
Man, we are terrible people. I hope I never need you.
Well, I certainly don't want to need you.
I don't know if I would help. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I would.
You're waffling.
But well, here's the thing. Okay. I'm trying to think of myself as this 70-year-old person, but I'm thinking of it when I'm 70 and I think of the resources I'd have. That's what's in my head. This person doesn't have a tremendous amount of resources.
They don't have a bunch
modest
of extra.
retirement.
They've done well. They've planned well for what they needed. They didn't expect to have a outside event come in and
And they either got to sell their home,
Right.
or one of them would have to go back to work.
No.
So someone else, no.
no.
If those are the options presented to
No
us,
way.
no.
But if there's a different solution that's more modest, that doesn't require massive change,
Man.
maybe.
Nicole, what would you do? What would you do?
I wouldn't help them. I don't know.
It's
that
so
makes me
uncomfortable.
feel, yeah. Oh my gosh, it makes me feel like such a terrible person.
Wow.
But
Well, there's 3 terrible people.
That's right. So where there's 3, the Lord will gather. Wait, is that what it is?
Sure, more,
I
but-
know one knows. Okay. All right. Coming up after the break, we're going to show further callousness right here on the $1 Million Plan. I'm Pete the Planner.
Yeah. Axe hand on the beat.
Back on the $1 Million Plan, the Peter, Paul, and Nicole, can you be Mary for this episode?
Yeah, that feels right.
Did your parents ever make you listen to Peter, Paul, and Mary when you were a kid?
No, they didn't.
Oh, man.
we get
My
that?
parents did.
Can we get that for some of the bumper music on the way?
Yeah, so whoever's producing my show this week, get some Peter, Paul, and Mary bumper music. Maybe some Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yes. Which is not a reference about a dragon, I don't
No, I don't think that's for the demo, especially with sort of the cannabis laws going on in the state of Indiana right now.
Exactly.
Next email. Paul's here. We're answering tough email this week. These have been difficult. The
They've
first
been
one wasn't
difficult.
that difficult.
Yeah, no,
the second one was awful.
And I think both Peter, Paul, and Mary,
Yeah.
we feel pretty callous about our answer, but I think our answer's right. Anyway.
I mean, it's the old, if we can continue from the last segment, I would do anything to help you. And what we're saying, quite frankly, is this person would not do anything to help that person. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, not in this case. Not with the circumstances involved. All right, let's
Man,
be callous on
yeah,
another
let's move
email.
on. Okay, hi, Pete. My story of going from rags to riches to rags again ain't pretty, so I won't bore you with the gory details. Although, two things to note. Number one, I like gory details. Number two, emailer emailed this in Comic Sans.
That's gory.
The font, Comic Sans. Can you see that, Pablo? And like 18-point Comic Sans, which I appreciate because I'm now 40.
You're an old man.
You've been there. Fast forward to now. I'm 70. I live in Mexico, 2 years permanent.
Si es muy bueno.
I might see them there in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My overhead is cheap. My income is only Social Security of $1,400 a month, American. I add the American part. I assume they're not getting paid in pesos. I can put away $140 per month. That is my goal, 10%. I must leave something for my kids. Otherwise, I'd be so regretful and remorseful and embarrassed when I pass. All these people are passing.
I got an idea.
Do you think passing's a generational word?
I think it is.
What do you
Pass on
think?
to the other side.
What's your idea?
He can take his 140 and
Yeah.
pay it to the other couple's sister, brother.
Or wait, these people don't know each other.
Doesn't matter. Wait, this is a love connection.
But there's a lot of passing going on
There's a lot
here.
of passing
It's like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's say I live 10 more years. What the heck should I put my money into so
Oh.
I'll leave them a little something when I pass?
Life
Nicole,
insurance.
are you
Life insurance.
Nicole, are you comfortable with all this passing?
No, and Comic Sans on top of it.
When people pass, I mean, do people just not say when I'm dead? Is that the
yeah.
problem?
That seems very permanent. Pass is like passing to the other side.
I don't know. What do you? I mean, Nicole, if you ever talk about that event, what do you say? Do you say dead?
I
You
don't
say
know.
Pat. You're too young to even think
Yeah,
about it.
I try not.
I
don't
say
know.
post-retirement. That's what I say. What do you say, Pablo?
When I die, when I pass
Yeah,
away. When
I mean,
pass away
I'm
occasionally,
comfortable with
but-
that thought.
But when
right?
I die, I mean, I'm going to die at some point.
When you pass?
I think I've said it when I pass away, but I never say when I pass. Pass to what?
How about when I'm gone?
When I'm gone? When I'm dead and gone.
Well, gone could just be like I moved to Mexico.
Right.
Okay. Any help or advice would be greatly appreciated. Happy holidays.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
Is he in good health?
I don't know if it's a woman.
Okay.
I think. I don't even know anymore.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, doesn't.
What about some
Life insurance?
Yeah, some whole life insurance. No, I'm kidding.
Well, hold on a second.
More sold than bought.
So, would you agree that this person lives okay now?
It sounds like it.
My overhead is cheap. My income is only $1,400 a month. Okay, so that seems sustainable, and they're able to put 10% back, which is, even though it's only $140, that's good. The fact that they can put 10% back. But don't you think this is really not about money? This is about not even love. It's about personal
Pride.
shame.
Pride. It's about pride.
Well, it's pride, but they feel shame because they went back to rags.
Yeah. Well, they had rags, rich as rags.
But when you think the kids know that,
Absolutely have to know it.
they might not. Maybe that's why the person fled to Mexico.
I have questions for he or she.
Well, ask them. I'll act like it's a woman. It's a 70-year-old woman. Let me get my 70-year-old woman voice. Okay, it's dialed in. Ask away.
So, Beatrice, tell me about why you moved to Mexico.
Well, I love chimichangas. And my friend Marie used to make the best salsa. So I went to Mexico because I only had $1,400 a month in Social Security. And Mexico is inexpensive because you can get a lot more pesos. What other questions do you have?
Are you worried about the border wall that's going to be built by the Trump administration?
That's how I get back over, so I hope they don't build a wall. That's how I throw my $140 to my children on the other side.
No, and seriously, sorry, I'm done asking. Beatrice is creeping me out. I want Peter back.
Adios. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
You channeled your inner Beatrice there. That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Um,
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. How do you... Clearly it's about pride and shame, but they're resigned to the fact that they want to leave something for the next generations. What do you do to...
Man, that's where he gets into like,
Why don't
well,
you-
these are my wishes. Well, your wishes maybe not practical.
Well, why don't you... What's meaningful for the next generation? Education? Dump it into a 529 and call it a day.
But she's a 70-year-old woman. Her kids aren't 15 unless she was on Oprah.
She can, and she'd probably have money. You can fund a 529 for the next generation.
She's not interested in that. She wants to leave it for her kids, not her grandkids.
Well, but don't her kids have children?
How would I know that? I'm not actually.
You made
this
up
woman.
a reason why she moved to Mexico.
That was a good reason.
It was a great reason. Chimichangas are
I love
very good
chimichangas.
'cause
I can't eat it anymore though
fried,
because
yeah.
they're fried.
Yeah.
Okay, so her wishes are she wants to leave kids. So we can either argue the point that money to her kids. We can either argue that she should or shouldn't do that, or we can tell her the best things on how to magnify her money.
All right, so there are two options. $140 over
month.
over a month over a 10-year period isn't going to amount to.
Why 10 years? You think she's
she
dead
say
at
10
80?
years?
She's 70.
I thought.
Let's say I live 10 more years.
That's right. I'm not. making
You
up
listen pretty well.
this. You're making up facts about Beatrice and her chimichangas, and I'm actually listening to the
I
information.
believe she implied the chimichanga part.
You're right. It's in the font.
Yeah.
I
What's going to happen 10 years, $140 a month? Not much. I mean, it's $140,000 put to some interest. I mean, I guess I have that calculator. You want me to figure it out?
I think the listeners want to know. What if they're trying to save 140?
I don't. My mother is the listener, and I don't know if she particularly cares.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, let me look that up. All right, so go ahead. You continue with your
Okay,
point.
so
while I look this
arguably
up.
140 isn't like a massive movement of money. 140
Okay.
a month over 10 years.
Right.
But if she wants to make it be something, you can't take too much risk in the market.
No, because what if her reality changes, and it will as she gets older. By the way.
Right.
All right. So what percent do you want to have this grow at?
Let's go conservative.
Did I say $140,000?
That was way high.
What in the world was I talking about?
I don't know.
Oh man, that's not good. I'm gonna do 5%.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Why did I
45%.
say
Well,
$140,000?
because 10 times
1,400 times 10 is 14,000. Okay, so it's actually at 5%. It's 21,739. Why? I can't believe I said 100. I apologize to everyone that just turned off the show. But you didn't hear the apology, so
Yeah.
enjoy something else.
Yeah.
21,739.
It seems.
How many kids? She said kids,
Yeah,
plural.
Yeah.
with
Let's
an
say she
S.
has 2 kids. Divide that in half.
10-5. I mean, it's
if they're
better than a cast iron pig.
Yeah, well, although that's nice. It's about her pride, Beatrice's pride. Go just buy a bunch of chimichangas over, get an extra chimichanga.
I don't know what I would do here. Okay, so the answer is what she should do. If she wants to do something like municipal bonds, or she could do a money market account, but she's not getting much rate of return. An annuity, I think, would be a mistake because they could get locked up and she would
Yeah.
want the money.
What if she, to leave a legacy, donated the money to a charity that her kids loved each month?
That's cute, but I don't
I'm
think.
trying to be cute here.
Well, I don't think that would work here.
Why?
Because she'd be regretful, remorseful, and embarrassed when she passes. She said.
Leaving $21,000 is.
But it's relative. She makes $1,400 a month. Maybe I was doing $1,400 a month times 10.
Yeah, that feels like.
I'm so upset that I did such bad math. All right, we got to take a break. So here's our advice. What's our advice? Maybe a money market account, but it's not going to earn you much, and you shouldn't take much risk anyway. I'm sorry. That was such a bad answer. Appreciate the font, though. Coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week. And that's probably it. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the $1 Million Plan.
Yeah. Axe hand on the beat.
This week's biggest waste of money of the week. The Haglof's V-Series down jacket. The V-Series from Haglof's might be the toughest down jacket in the world.
How can down be tough?
That's because it's constructed using Dyneema, a high-tech fabric made from the strongest fiber on Earth.
I caught a bad case of Dyneema in college.
It's also windproof and lightweight, but remains breathable despite a 900 power fill goose down. Ideal for situations where a regular down jacket could be damaged. The V-Series is a limited edition and available in 2 colorways.
What colors?
White and goose white? I don't know. It's $1,300.
What?
For a down jacket.
I thought paying for my, whatever that is, North Face down jacket, $120 was ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I want to have a t-shirt that has a goose on it that just says, "Are you down?" You like that?
And then on the back it'd say, "Let's pate."
Pretty good too. Thanks for being on the show.
It's been my pleasure. Really,
I liked
really
it.
enjoyed
Maybe people will like this episode.
If they like it-
if you liked this,
Then you're an idiot.
yeah. Well, let's not call our listener an idiot. Go to @PeteThePlanner on Twitter and say I liked it. And if you didn't, say I didn't like it, and then also tag PE Ashley.
Yeah.
On
and
Twitter.
Make me feel bad.
Or email me, askpete@petetheplanner.com. I had subject line, I liked it, or I didn't like it. That's all we have time for on this week's show. Next time we'll talk to you. Yeah, we'll do a show next week. It'll be the Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
Christmas Eve. So maybe we'll do a little reading of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Reminding you, as always, sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that I have in the budget. This is Pete the Planner. It's $1 Million Plan.
This is where I came from. Planet Lovetron, where we drop love bombs, funk missiles, and live in soul shelters. No helter skelter. The heat don't swelter because everybody stays cool. Left many moons ago to bring the philosophies of my ancestors to another place. God picked the third rock, gave me to my earth family, and told me to create. And so I am. Pen in my hand, microphone on the stand. Over vinyl, I command and demand. Magnificence in an instance, I can make you dance, cry, or love. Fly as a dove, released from Everest. The fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you Lovetron greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Lovetron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with